The Collectors. Chapter 10. And then it winked back, and the girl was gone, and the beast was walking down the steps of the bridge, on its way to Remy. Doug was cursing again, yanking at the back of Remy's sweater even more.
"We gotta get out of here."
"You'll go nowhere,"
the creature commanded, and this time the force of the command was double. Doug stopped tugging. Remy's knees stuck fast to the grass beneath them. The monster moved closer, its long-legged lope cutting an unmistakable path toward them. Fear roared to life inside of Remy again, but it did nothing to counteract the power of the command this time. He was cemented in place. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? His knees were beholden to the ground, but his tongue had free rein. Doug! Doug!
"Shut up! I need to focus,"
he shouted in return. Remy twisted around the best he could to see the older man. His shoulders settled and squared. He took a deep breath, and the air around him warmed in a way that was now familiar to Remy.
"Spirit,
The tenor of his voice doubled in the air.
I command you to lay bare your name."
Something large and dark lunged past Remy, and then the air where Doug had stood was empty. A gasping sound drew his gaze down to the grass. The creature's long form was stretched over Doug's sprawled body. One sallow-colored hand clamped over Doug's mouth, the other wrapped around his throat, tapered, claw-like fingers squeezing. Doug's face was turning red.
"Do you think to command me, child? Do you think for even a moment you would have the skill?"
The words were whisper-soft again. It pressed its head closer to Doug's face, ignoring the way the man's hands clawed at its wrists. Remy scrambled away, out of arm's reach of the thing. As he gained his feet, it hit him that he could move again. Run. The thought was so loud and insistent he almost had trouble believing it was his own. But his feet were already backing him away from the scene, from the broken sounds coming from Doug's thrashing form, and the slippery whispers that no longer sounded like words from the monster atop him. If he wanted to get to the street, he would have to risk passing the beast, risk gaining its attention once more. He would rather not. Remy turned away and fled. He only took 3 steps before stopping. The bridge was still there. His eyes dragged across it in a quick frenzy, body already moving in its direction instead of away from the bridge and the skirmish on the grass. A loud part of his mind railed that he needed to keep running, asked what he was even looking for. He had his answer after a few seconds when he didn't find it. She wasn't there. He had expected the girl to be there, trapped on the other side of the bridge like the beast had been, maybe cowering and crying. But she wasn't. She was gone like air, and the bridge stood empty, swaying over the water like a mirage. She was just gone. His brain struggled to label her as dead, which was stupid because she was already dead. He'd only known her as dead, but something like a shiver raced up his spine as he stared at the spot where she should be but wasn't. It made him feel... He didn't know, but as that feeling built up in his stomach, he knew that it wasn't something good. He hadn't wanted to be stuck with the girl, but he had taken up responsibility of her, more so than any other spirit he had ever encountered. She had been his charge. She had given him her trust. She had given him her name, and he had foolishly given it to the beast. "Because I didn't know the rules of this," that loud part of him screamed in his mind. But that fact did nothing to quell the sourness building in his gut. Because another fact was that she was gone, and a more horrifying possibility was that she had not been allowed to a restful place, a place she deserved. Remy turned slowly back to the scene of the monster overcoming the man. Doug was not struggling as much as he had been just seconds before. He was passing out. He was dying. Fear scuttled in Remy's system once more, but it was pushed out by the sourness in his gut. He had to do something. But even as he thought it, his feet pulled him backward, a few more steps away from the struggle. He couldn't do anything. He didn't know how to do anything. He had already tried, and it had possibly cost the girl, cost Lucinda her afterlife. His eyes trembled as he watched Doug attempting to buck the beast off like a dying fish, like a dying man, with no power, as though he were batting away a bug in his sleep. And suddenly there was nothing in Remy. No movement, no voice urging him to leave, no fear, no sourness. He was watching this man die. He was watching Doug die. Suddenly, there was a cracking sound. It was soft, muffled by the distance, but Remy flinched like it was a shot near his ear. The sourness returned, and it pushed its way up his stomach and into his mouth.